This is going over function notation again from class today. Just a review for anybody that wants to go over it again. So first off, f of x is going to be the same thing as y. So we've seen equations where we see y equals, and that'll also, we'll see that a lot in algebra from here on out, but you might see y equals, you'll see f of x, you'll see g of x, h of x. All of these mean the same thing. And all that really is it's just the name of the function. That I'm not sure who made that up in life, but it just means the same thing, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So this is called function notation. So what we're gonna do for that, you'll just see these problems. So an example you'll get for f of x equals negative x plus 4, find each value. So all we're doing here is substitution. So it'll tell you what f of x is. So this tells me f of 2. So all I do here is whenever I see an x in the equation, I substitute it in. So what I do, whenever you substitute, it helps to use parentheses just to help you remember what you substituted in, and it helps you when you're in the calculator. So I put negative 4, I substituted a 2, and then plus 7. So then evaluating it, negative 4 times 2 gave me a negative 8, and then plus 7, and that gave me a negative 1. So that's my answer. And then for this one, tells me f of negative 3. So I'm still using this equation. So negative 4, substitute in my negative 3 plus 7. So negative 4 times negative 3 gives me a positive 12, plus 7 is 19. So if you want to check your, if you have not used Desmo's calculator before, you just type in Desmo's graphing calculator, and you just put in the problem, and this is why putting in parentheses when you substitute is helpful, plus 7. So, okay, negative 1, we're good to go. Okay, so now these next, sorry, this is low budget filming here. So this is why parentheses are definitely important. Whoa, where, oh, my bad, okay. Well, not quite, but all right, so same thing here. So this one doesn't have f of x, but it's still, you're just substituting in. So same thing, I see an x, tells me what my x is, I plug it in. That's the same thing. So 2 times 4 is 8, minus 6, I get a 2. And I could check it if I wanted to. So this one's a little different. So normally if we were to see 3 in parentheses x minus 2, we would want to do the distributive property. So when we have an x, that's what we would do, but we know the value. So we don't need to distribute here. We only distribute when it's a variable. But when we have a value, we plug it in, and then we solve. So you may remember from the past hearing the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And if you've never heard that before, that's just a saying to remember the order of operations. So it's parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And if you've never heard that before, honestly, you can check yourself in the calculator, and the calculator does that anyway. Okay, so I went ahead again, x I plugged in. Like I'm gonna show you in the calculator, this is where it's important for parentheses. And even though this looks funny having double parentheses, it's still important. So I'm gonna use 3, open parentheses, and then my parentheses for substitution, negative 2, and then my minus 2, and then close my parentheses. So I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna do 3, open parentheses, and I gotta do another set, and then negative 2, minus 2, and close. Okay, so negative 12, and then when I also did it by hand, I got negative 12. So this is a good way to check yourself. All right, so this one. So these were just substituting one thing in. So again, I know I keep repeating myself, but parentheses are extra important. And I used colors. If this helps you, I know we're on the computer right now because it's virtual. But, you know, you can always write down like when we have a test or something, you can write the problems down on your paper and do it. I know it takes longer, but if it helps you, it helps you. So for this one, we have 3 things here. We have X, we have Y, we have Z. And then if you notice, we have exponents. Okay, so I have a -4 for my X, so I have 3, substitute my X value. And then squared plus my parentheses. Again, you need to put those parentheses there, plus parentheses with my Z, and then cube. This is a cubed. Okay, so again, you can solve it by hand, and that, you know, it is good to know that math, but we have a resource, we have the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. This is why this is important. And then, okay, I'm actually going to show you why it's important to use parentheses. If I did -4 squared, oops, I'm sorry, -4 squared without parentheses, it says -16. But if I do it with parentheses, which is what we need here, it's positive. So that's why I'm saying you need your parentheses, especially if you're doing it in the calculator. It's very important. You'll get the wrong answer if not. So we actually need the 3 in front because that's what the equation is. So 3 times -4 squared plus, oops, sorry, this is hard one-handed, 2 times 5 plus 3, ooh, 3 cubed, oh, cubed, oops. Okay, so I got 130, now, oh, I did something wrong here. Let me see, 2 times 5 plus, oh, you know what, I didn't need that, plus 3 cubed. Ooh, the lights went out. I'm sorry, I'm at school. Oh my gosh. Okay. Plus 3 cubed. Okay, so I got 85. Got 85. Okay, so again, it's good to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay. So now we're going to go back to the function notation. So those are just regular substitution problems. Now I'm going to go here, but it's the same thing. So, but it's just saying it a different way. So this is h of 4. Oh, h of t, I'm sorry. It tells me the value is 4. So wherever I see the t, I plug it in. So this is -16 t squared, so I plug that in. And then plus 68t, I plug it in, plus 2, plug it in. I'm going to reevaluate, and then it's 18. So I'm not going to send me a message on Schoology if you still want help with this, but I'm just at this point, because of the other things, I'm showing you how to plug it in. But if you still need help, let me know. Okay, same thing with this. So again, we have this negative here. Like I said on the other page, you need to have, if not, it'll come up wrong with your signs. Okay, so those are those, and you only have to plug in it. You have to plug it in once. You will get these. I know it seems like a lot, but for number 7, it tells you if f of x equals 8x minus 3, state the range if the domain is -2, 0, and 1. So for this one, you're actually going to have 3 separate equations you have to solve within one problem, because it gives you 3 different x values, because domain means x. Remember, domain is your x values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in each of those to the equation. So I have -2, so I'm going to 8 times -2 minus 3. So that gives me -19. And then I have a 0, so I'm going to come over here. 8 times 0 minus 3 gives me a negative 3. And then I have a 1. So 8 times 1 minus 3 equals 5. So all you do, you use this equation and you plug in however many x values you have. So I have 3 different answers. So now remember, when we write range and domain, we do them in order from least to greatest. So negative 19 is the smallest, then it's negative 3, then it's 5, and that's my answer. Now you can do this in the calculator, and it's actually kind of nice. So I'm gonna show you this real quick. Whoops. 8 times negative 2 minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to show you this real quick. So 8 times negative 2 minus 3 gives me 19, right? So instead of having to type this over and over, 0 is my next thing. So I can just do that, and it tells me negative 3. And then 1. 5. See? So I could do that because I use my parentheses. All right, so now this one kind of confused some people earlier. So this is f of x. And then these brackets mean absolute value. And I feel like some people forgot what absolute value meant. Absolute value, when you have that, it just is it just means the distance something is from 0. So your number is going to be positive. So even if you get a negative value here, your answer is going to be positive. So we're going to still do it the same way, but even if I get a negative answer, it's going to be positive. And there is an example over here I'll show you. So for this one, we're doing the same that we just did, except this one I have 4 x values to do. So I have 4 things to solve here. So I have negative 3, and then I plugged in negative 3 plus 5. I plugged in my 0, I plugged in my 1, and I plugged in my 2. Okay, so these were all positive already, but if I look over here, I had negative 3 times 2 plus 5. That gave me a negative 1, but I have my absolute value brackets. So negative 1, yes, negative 1 is negative, but it's only 1 spot away from 0, which is why it's positive. I know it's kind of goofy, but just remember, when you have absolute value, your answer is going to be positive. So now I order it from least to greatest. 1, 2, 5, 14. So again, when you have these, when it gives you an equation and state the range, if the domain is blah, 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 you plug it in however many numbers you have, and then you list them in order from least to greatest. Okay, and the last thing from today we did, you're gonna have these graphs. So if you remember graphing, the coordinates are x comma y. And remember, this side to side or horizontal axis is your x-axis. And your up and down axis or your vertical axis is y. If for some reason you've had trouble remembering that, I always tell people like this, that can become a y if you want. Okay, so what this is asking you, if a number is inside of the parentheses, inside it is x asking what your y value is. Because if you remember up here, okay, see how it says f of x? So this is saying that's your x value. So I have my x coordinate, but it wants my y coordinate. So when x is 0, what is y? So I'm going to go up here and look at 0 on my x-axis. And it's asking what my y value is when I'm at 0. So I'm going to go using this line. Okay, it goes 0, 1, 2. My line crosses when y is 2. So my answer is going to be 2. And that point is actually 0, 2. You don't have to write that. It's just asking for the y value. So then now it's asking if when x is 3, what is the value of y wherever that line crosses. So when x is 3, so I'm going to go to my x-axis again, 0, 1, 2, 3. Y crosses at when it's a 0. See, it's at 0. So my y value is 0. So now going to this one, it says when x is negative 4, what is my y value? So I'm going to go to my x-axis, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's negative 4. And then I'm going to find where my y crosses, and it actually is going up. Where's where it crosses? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my y value is 4 when my x is negative 4. So now when x is 1, what is my y value? So x, if this is 1, my y value is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is negative. So when my x is 1, my y is going to be negative 4. And this one, if you have a hard time, I know this is kind of a little weird. I can do some more examples of that, but just know it's looking for where your y crosses the line, or yeah, where your y crosses, or where your y is on the line. When your x value is 0, what is your y value on the line? But these are weird. You won't see too many of these, but that is how you do it. All right, sorry for the long video. Please let me know if it does not help. I am going to upload these notes as well. Okay, bye.